And I've done 100 kilometers, which is 62 miles. I've done that dozens of times. And 100 miles, I've done 100 miles. So it's not the hardest thing in the world to do, but it's scary because you can die. You're not going to die by running unless you get hit by a car or a truck or something like that. But up on half of them, they put you on this little pointy thing, and that's where the picture is. I'm standing out on the side of this pointy thing. If you look at that picture real carefully, I'm leaning to one side. Because I'm scared to death if I stand up straight, I'm going to fall off. I'm like, 45 inches. I mean, what's that? A foot and a half, 20 inches from going 2,000 feet straight down. There's no railings, there's nothing to protect you. I got a wide sail area. If the wind blows, off I go. Just like the pigs we're going to talk about here pretty soon. It was spooky. There's places where you can't walk because it's too steep. You have to hold on to something because it's just too steep. And then when you come back down, if you don't hold on, down you go. And just I don't know, 3 days, 4 days after I was up there, some guy dropped his water bottle or dropped a camera or something. Somebody, one of his teammates dropped something, and the guy reached out to try and grab it, slipped, fell off the cable, started sliding down the side of the mountain. Whoa! Talk about doing spread. He go, don't go. And so they had to go up there and they had to throw him a rope and tie it around his neck, or not around his waist, and they pulled him up. And you can die up there. But Amy still wants to go. Yay! John, he's not going up. John, no, we're gonna take you guys up there and scare you to death. You have to take off them high heels because you'll get stuck. But it was cool. I mean, you can see that it's like on top of the world. You can see forever. You imagine this is the kind of place where the devil took Jesus and stood him up on a high spot and said, "All of this I will give to you." Blah blah blah. It was just like that. But today, I want to talk about, I missed you guys. I don't know if you missed me, but I missed you. Say, I missed you too, Bill. I'll feel better. Okay, thank you very much, Brian. Anybody else?
Welcome back.
Yeah. So, Jesus' encounter with a streaker. Y'all know what streaking is, right? Does anybody not know what streaking is? I'm not going to show you. Yeah, that's right. Everybody would go home. But you can find anything on YouTube. So I thought I'm going to bring you guys a picture of a streaker. Or at least a YouTube of a streaker, but in church I can't do that. Right, yeah. You think about it. This guy was stark naked. He didn't have no clothes on at all. I mean, just naked as a jaybird, wearing his birthday suit, that kind of thing. And I met one of these guys once. I did. I was in India. We were there for about 3 weeks. We were driving around all over the place. And there was this crazy long-haired dude walking down the middle of the street with nothing on but nothing. And he was going all berserk, and he was spitting and cussing in Hindu, I guess. But then my friend said that he's demon possessed. And so I had this vision of this guy in my mind, what he was like. But I can't show you because he was naked. Can't do that here in the church. Can I do that? Sam, no, I'm kidding. You're right. But the other thing I wanted to show you was this guy was totally demon possessed. Demon possessed. Now, that's spooky stuff too. That's spookier than going up Yosemite. And you can find people on YouTube that are demon possessed. You see what Google does in their free time? They put up naked people and crazy people on YouTube. Nah, but I couldn't show that to you either, because you got this demon. I don't recommend you go search demon possession, but if you search it, you'll find people who claim to be demon possession. You don't know unless you're there, and even if you're there, you're not really sure. But where I'm headed here is that Jesus found himself in very R-rated situations. It wasn't even PG. It wasn't X, because it's not porn, it's not dirty or anything like that. But it's definitely not G or PG or even, what's the other one, R7, 8, B17 or something like that. There's another one. But it's definitely R-rated because we've got naked people running around, we've got crazy people running around, we've got threats of violence and all sorts of craziness stuff, and Jesus is right smack dab in the middle of that. And I think that's cool, because Jesus is right in the middle of where people are doing what people do. He was meeting people on their level. He was meeting people where they were at, facing what they were facing. Now, I have a friend who's, I just got back from Las Vegas. I was there this week. This kind of a friend, he decided he's going to start a church on the Strip. Not a stripping church, on the Strip. He's going to start a church right there on the Strip. They wanted to create a core fellowship. That's not what they call it. They call it Verve or some weird name. But they want to be reaching the people right there. So they're going to open up a shop right there on the Strip where people come out of the nightclubs after doing whatever they do all night, and they can just kind of drunkenly walk into the church because they want to meet people where they're at. Did I keep going down, or is that just me? I pulled this up like 4 times. And each time I look back, it's down again. So, Jesus meets people where he's at. Now, I'm of the wrong opinion, I think, that some people are beyond hopeless. Yeah, I ain't spending my time with that guy. He's just a knucklehead, too deep into being knucklehead in this. Earlier last week, it's funny, whenever I'm studying something to come here, I run into people. He wasn't naked, he wasn't demon-possessed, but I ran into a guy, I thought, man, this guy's a total waste of time. Not going to try and win him because it's not going to work. He was a fellow who came to one of my meetings, and he lost his job, he lost his friends, he lost everything. Couldn't find anybody spending time with him for nothing. And so he came and I hung out with him, fed him a bunch of meals over the course of 8, 9 months and all that sort of thing. And we got along really good. Well, his life bounced back, and now he's making a lot of money, and he hates me. He said, I can preach, but I cannot pastor. See, pastor is being nice to people, and I'm not nice sometimes. You gotta say, that's okay. God loves you, and I believe that, I really do. But sometimes I think that the proper response is suck it up. Life is tough. So what? Get back on the horse. Get back with it, because that is sometimes what we need to do. And I told this to this fellow one time. That thing is sliding down the I told this fellow, he got mad at me. And so he took me out and made me buy him lunch and threatened physical violence. And he started using words that started with F, and they all started with F. And he wanted to put me into a ring and do octagon on me or something. He wanted to go martial arts on me. And I'm thinking, man, you beating up an old man, is that going to make you feel better? Yeah. He did. Just beating up on an old man would make him feel better. And so I thought, I'm done here. Done. And I just kind of walked out. And then while I'm walking out, I'm thinking, Jesus would not walk out. Now, I'm not scared of being beat up. That's happened to me before. That's not a big deal. But what I'm getting at is, sometimes we have in our mind that this person is not worth it. This person does not warrant my time. Worth is not the right. This person does not warrant my time. Need to pass this person on to somebody else or something like that. Because it's just not, I can't go there. I'll end up getting beat up or beating somebody up. But not with Jesus. It never, ever happened to Jesus. Anybody could approach Jesus. And the guy we're going to meet here, the streaker dude, he's one of those people. He's one of those people. Is this my imagination? Can you guys see this slide? All right, take off the weight. That'll work, right? It's demon-possessed. Yeah, if this thing starts running around naked, we'll know it's been demon-possessed, right? So, remember last time, Jesus and his disciples are in the boat, right? They were in the boat, and Jesus was exhausted from the whole wide day, and he'd been working really hard. He fell asleep, and then remember that we Basha and Za and Bew, right? You guys didn't get into that, but I got into it. Basha. And so Jesus calmed the sea, and then, oh my goodness, and then they became amazed. They became terrified. Oh, look what this guy can do. Who would have thought that somebody like this guy in our boat, asleep on the cushions, could wake up and silence the world? And they were just beyond amazed. They become terrified. They were frightened to no end. And still they had no choice. They were in the boat, so they finished that ride, petrified of Jesus. And then as soon as they step out of the boat, this guy shows up. It's just as soon as, so they got Jesus, their best friend. They're scared of him because he's all good. They get out of the boat and they went across the lake. This is having calmed the sea to the region of the Gerasenes. When Jesus got out of the boat, a man with an impure spirit, it's called a demon-possessed man, came from the tombs to meet him. The tombs. What they would do is that they put these tombs in very remote places. They usually dig them in caves. And if they didn't have a cave, they would create a cave. And they would dig in there far enough so that on the sides of the caves, they would have like shelves. You know, there's a shelf here, like bunk beds, like 3, 4 steep. And then the people they would bury the bones in these shelves. And so if you wandered into the wrong cave, you would see skeletons laying like they're being all dead and stuff. And so this guy found an empty one, cleared out, or not empty, but he just cleared out the bones, and he decided he was going to sleep there because he couldn't find anywhere else to sleep. He came out of the tombs. The man lived in those tombs, and no one could bind him. They couldn't tie him up anymore, not even with a chain, for he had often been chained hand and foot. How would you like this job? All right, Daniel, I got a job for you. I want you to go out into the tombs and chain this dude up. Yeah, somebody had to go do that. Can you imagine? We're talking sneaking into the cave, looking for the crazy man who you'll know which one he is because he's got skin on his bones. Right? That's the one you want. And don't worry about what he's wearing because he's not wearing anything. He's just wearing skin. And when he's asleep, I want you to sneak up on him and put these chains on him. Yeah, that would be a fun job to have in my spare time, wouldn't it? I wonder if it pays minimum wage. I don't know. So they couldn't bind him anymore, not even with chains. For he had often been chained, so they did this, hand and foot. So they chained his hand, they chained his foot, but he tore the chains apart. Now there's different ways you can tear chains apart. You can rub them apart until they break, or you can beat them on the rocks until they break, or you can just have superhuman strength and break them. But whatever it took, this guy was able to break the chains on both his arms and his feet. He broke the irons. So I lost my place. For he had often been chained hand and foot, but he tore the chains apart by grinding them, twisting them, pounding them, or just ripping. It's not clear. He tore the chains apart and broke the irons on his feet. No one was strong enough to subdue him. They couldn't tell the guy to shut up. How would you like to meet him after fishing all night? That'd like to be fun, wouldn't it? Now you can imagine this guy, he's long hair because he didn't have any money, can't go to the barber shop and all that. But it gets worse. Night and day, among the tombs and in the hills, he would cry out. This is cool. He would cry out. Now, this is a shriek. There are different kinds of cries. There's like that, we've talked about that guttural. That comes from way down in your gut. Kind of rip it out. It's not that kind. This is kind of like a girl, shriek kind of thing. I need some volunteers. Anybody want to shriek? Oh, come on. I need, can you shriek for me? That's a squeal. Got a little mouse in here. This guy would shriek. He would shriek like a crazy man. And he would cut himself with stones. Now, you're kind of, what's up with that? Well, you can imagine that this particular dude had this evil spirit inside him. Well, the evil spirit would sleep, or whatever evil spirits do when they're not spiriting. So he knew that he was being tormented. So if you've got this terrible, terrible pain and suffering and this agony and all this meanness inside of you, what are you going to do? You're going to pick up a rock. You're going to start gashing yourself. So we have a vision of this demon trying to hurt the body that he's living in. That would not be the case. Because we're going to find out later that if the demon doesn't have a place to live, he doesn't have any place to go. They just kind of like this. Demons, we learned something about demons here. Demons have to have a place to embody in order to manifest themselves. Otherwise, they're kind of, fluffy, whatever. I don't know. They have to be inside something. And so they choose this man to be inside. And the man wants to get him out. So out of himself, he cut himself up. I got a picture of this. I found it on YouTube. Yeah, I think he's from, no, I'm kidding. But you get the idea. He just cuts himself everywhere. He's harming himself because he's agonizing. He's terrified. He's in the worst pain possible. All he wants to do is get this demon back out of himself somehow. So you can see blood and dried up blood. You can see scars and dried up and hardened scars. Then you have scars with scars on top of it because it's not a pretty picture. And in the meantime, the guy's shrieking. He's shrieking. I'm not a girl. I can't do that. And when he saw Jesus from a distance, all right, so he's up there in the tombs, and he sees Jesus. How far is it from here to the doors or something like that? He sees Jesus and he starts running. Well, this is cool. See, the Greek can do this. Running is something he usually did. We can tell by the word. Here's something he usually did. He ran around like this. But then he fell on his knees. Not something he usually does. Demons don't fall down on their knees. They don't get down on their hands and knees. They don't lay down on their face forward, facing Jesus. And what would you think the apostles would think? What would they think when they saw this? So in the boat, they got this scary Jesus. Out of the boat, they got this scary demoniac. Where am I going to go? I don't know which way to go. Everywhere's scary, right? This guy comes running at him, shrieking, and he shouts at the top of his voice, "What do you want to do with me?" That's not the top of my voice. All right, I'm not letting you guys out of this. Everybody, up, stand up. Up, stand up. Up. Little audience participation here. So what do we want to do? What do you want to do with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? In God's name, don't torture me. In God's name, don't torture me. Now, what I want you to say at the top of your voice, okay? I want you to try this at the top of your voice. Let's warm up here. Ready? Everybody, come on. Warming up here. Clear it out. So, what shall I say today? That's a warm-up. Because I don't want you to scream and lose your voice and then go home and say, I killed my voice. All right, let's go. You're killing me. All right, you're killing me. I want you to say as loud as you can. You're killing me.
You're killing me.
That's not even loud. I can out loud to all of you. You're killing me.
You're killing me.
That's not even loud. You're killing me.
You're killing me.
Loud. I'm talking some serious loud here. I guarantee you, like, I don't know how many of you there are, but I can yell louder than all of you put together. You ready? We're going to go 1, 2, 3, and on 3, and we're going to do you're killing me. And if I can hear myself, you're not loud enough. 1, 2, you're killing me!
You're killing me!
That's what this guy was doing. All right, you guys are good. You can be lousy demons, but you're pretty good. They're screaming. He's screaming at them, you're torturing me. In God's name, don't torture me. There is this demon yelling at Jesus. He's in Jesus' face. The blood and the hair and the nakedness and all that stuff. He's in Jesus' face. You torture me. Jesus had said to them, and this is cool, Jesus had said. Now, that doesn't mean Jesus told the dude, get out of there, and the guy jumped out. Didn't work that way. Now, we remember that it always takes longer for something to happen in the Bible than it takes for us to read it. Now, we can read this in about 3.5 minutes. This is probably a 30-minute, 45, maybe an hour-long affair where this guy is in Jesus' face. He's up in his face. You're torturing me. Why in God's name are you torturing me? You son of the Most High God. He's screaming at the top of his voice. What do you think the apostles think is going on here? Well, isn't that cool? Look at Jesus having a conversation. No. There's some serious going on here. Jesus had been saying to him. Jesus said to him over and over again. Why isn't that interesting? Why doesn't the demon pop out of him, get out of him? Pop, gone. It didn't work that way. Jesus had to say it over and over and over again. Well, what's up with that? Well, we know that Jesus is all-powerful, so why didn't we get immediate results here? See, I don't know the answer to that question, but I know that Jesus was human. And I know that Jesus had limited his power when he stepped out of heaven and decided to walk around us. Now, I think that Jesus, get out of him, he's out, he's done, look at me, how cool. I just calmed the sea, I silenced the storm immediately. I can do that to a demon as well. There's a storm going on in this demon's life. There's a storm going on in this man's life. Why doesn't Jesus say, get out and it's done, it's calm again? It didn't work that way this time. We didn't get instant calmness. Why? I don't know the answer. But we can see Jesus having a conversation with this man, screaming at the top of his voice in his face. Whoa. How's that? Jesus says, I'm going to talk to you, dude. What's your name? What's your name? Jay, what's your name? See, my name is Legion. Yeah, you sissy. That sounds like a sissy demon. Yeah, serious. Legion. I'm Legion. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. You see, my name is Legion. Legion is 6,800 and something. 6,826 is in the Legion. But that's a bunch of soldiers all lined up. It's a number that represents irresistible, unstoppable, unbreakable. So I am unstoppable, the demon says. Now, imagine you screaming at the top of your voice times 6,826. Whoa, that's some serious loudness going on there, right? So my name is Legion, he says, because we are many. We are many. Now look at that. He goes from I, my, singular, to we. Isn't that interesting? And he begged. Now there's another begging coming on. This is a different begging. He was begging, is the word. He was begging Jesus again and again. Well, look at that. They're having a conversation. Jesus is saying, get out of him. And the guy said, wait. Get out of him, but wait. Get out of him, but wait, just I want to ask you. They're having this conversation. Wasn't that, whoa. Jesus is talking to a crazy dude. He's not just mentally disturbed. It's not a physical problem. It's a spiritual problem. This demon had taken over his life, and he's screaming, and they're having a talk. And he begged Jesus again and again, don't just send us away. Don't just send us out of the area, because if a demon goes somewhere, they have to go into somewhere. Otherwise, they just kind of float. Now, see, there's an insight into demons. Daniel, if you want to be possessed by a demon, you have to invite that demon in. See, demons cannot impose themselves on you or on anybody. They have to be invited, and Satan cannot do anything to us that we do not invite him to do. There's no the devil made me do it nonsense. That's nonsense. We invite the devil to take over aspects of our life, and then he begins to control us. If we do not invite, it doesn't happen. So the demon has to beg. But the lesson we're learning here is that anybody can approach Jesus. David, where'd David go? Lost him. David, there he is. I appreciate your openness. Because we are sinners. We think, oh man, I got these failings in my life, and sometimes when we stand up in front of church, we definitely don't want to be transparent. We don't want people to see that we're real people. Well, Jesus loves real people. But what we want to do is take that reality. We want to approach Jesus. Jesus will allow anybody to come to him, to bring anything of any form to him. And we can see that here. There was a large herd of pigs. Pigs. You guys like pigs? They're cute. Man, Porky. Porky pig. Babe, right? Babe, the pig in the movie. You ever seen the movie Babe? There was a herd of pigs feeding on the nearby hillside. Look at the pigs hanging on the hillside. There's a bunch of them. The demons were begging, again, they were begging, Jesus, send us among the pigs. Allow us, give us permission to go into the pigs. Why? Because if they don't have something to embody, they have no influence. So they got to live inside something. And Jesus gave them permission, and the impure spirits came out and went into the pigs. The herd, there's about 2,000 of them in number, rushed over the top of Half Dome and dove down. No, they weren't on Half Dome, but there was a big mountain cliff. Because how we know there's a cliff there? Because inside those cliffs is where the demon lived. They would carve that out for the tombs. We just learned it. So these guys, these pigs, this little piggy went to the market, this little piggy stayed home, this little piggy had roast beef, this little piggy had none. And these 2,000 piggies, wee, over the side of the cliff they went, one by one until they were in a big pile at the bottom of the cliff, all 2,000 of them. Rushed down the steep bank and then to the lake, and they were drowned. Glub, glub, glub. The people who were taking care of these pigs. Now, have you ever seen a pig in Israel? Now, we don't hang around there. In India. India is very, very similar. The countryside of India is very, very similar to what it was like in the first century. In India, they have pigs running around. And they look like, they're hairy. They're not even pink. That's not even cute. They look more like boars. Like a wild boar, running through except they're really skinny. They're scrawny. They don't have any meat on them. And they eat out of the dump. Because in India, they won't eat pigs, so they just let the pigs run wild. They look like wild dogs. Like Lady and the Tramp. Lady and the Tramp and the Tramp. You might be Disney, I can't help that. And so you got these scrawny-looking pigs who eat out of the dump piles. And somebody had gathered them all together, and they were chasing them around there, letting them eat on the grass side. And so it's all these scrawny, nasty, stinky animals that the demons had chosen as opposed to floating around, right? And so those tending the pigs reported this in the town. They went into the town, countryside, and the people went out to see what had happened. They went out to investigate, see, to search, and to analyze. And when they came to Jesus, they saw the man had been possessed by the legion of demons. He was just sitting there. Now, see, he had never done that before. He always ran and screamed, but he never just sat. He was sitting there dressed because he had no clothes on. Isn't that cool? Now, when we go to Luke, and I'm not going to go there, but Luke tells us he was actually naked. Here we can imply, we get the conclusion that he was naked because now he had clothes on. He was dressed in his right mind, and they were afraid. Wow! They're afraid of the demon. Now they're afraid that the demon's not the demon anymore. He said, what's up with that? Can't make people happy, right? Oh, I lost my place. Go. So those who had seen it, these are the people who were out there when it all happened, told the people what had happened to the demon-possessed man. Told. This is the word narration. Like a narrator. They went on and on and on and on and on and on. Okay, everybody sit down, let's go buy some lemonade. I'm going to tell you a story. And so they told him a story. They narrated all about the demon-possessed man and told him about the pigs. See that pile of pigs? That's all part of the plan here. That's what happened here. And then the people began to plead. They began to beg. Same begging. The demons begged, don't torture me. The demons begged, throw me in the pigs. Now the people are begging to Jesus, please leave. Well, what's up with that? Some people, I've heard this so many times I had to put it in here. Some people say, oh, poor piggies. Anybody think that? Don't raise your hand. Poor piggies. Right. People think all the time, poor piggies, because some people care more about their possessions than about other people. The story is about the man who was righted, not about the pigs. Besides, they stunk anyway. They needed a bath. That's why Jesus sent them into the boat. Jesus was getting into the boat. Now, this is as Jesus was getting into the boat. We got 1 foot in the boat and 1 foot out. That's what that means. 1 foot's in the boat and 1 foot's out. So he's 1 foot's wobbling, the other foot's on dry land. If you go this way, you're going to wobble. If you stand here, you're on dry land. So Jesus was getting into the boat. The man who had been demon-possessed begged. This is that word again, beg. It's a very, very strong word. It's like the beggar on the side of the road. It gets kind of worse than that. And, in China, my wife, she's Chinese, and I love parts about China. But in China, they will go to the countryside and bring out infant children and disfigure them. They'll break their legs on purpose, poke out their eyes, and then bring them into the city and use them to beg. This is that kind of begging. It's that if I don't get some sort of result, I'm going to die feeling. Beg is a very, very strong word. This man, with his deepest emotion, is begging Jesus, let me go with you. Now, does he want to just follow Jesus? Or maybe he's afraid that these pigs, or that these demons might come back. We don't know, but we can see how deeply desiring he is to follow Jesus. And Jesus said, no. What's up with that? I thought everybody who wanted to follow Jesus wherever Jesus went could go. But Jesus said, no, not going with me. Did not let him. Can't do it. Can't go with me. Not taking any ex-crazy naked people. No, he didn't say that. I'm not letting you go with me. Go home to your own town, he says. Go home to your town. Go home to your own people, and tell them how much the Lord has done for you. Well, that's interesting. See, this demon had his own people. he was very famous. That's the implication there is clear. He's very famous amongst a certain group of people. Go to those people where you're really crazy famous at, and tell them how much the Lord has done for you. How he has had mercy. How he has been graceful to you. How he's been gracious to you. He gave you a kindness that was totally undeserving, yet he still gave it to you. Go tell people how much your life is different for having been here. Isn't that interesting? Because all the people were amazed. And the man went away. And he began to tell in the Decapolis how much Jesus had done. Now, the Decapolis is deca, like decathlon, 10, right? Polis is city. The land of 10 cities is what that means. So if you look at a map of Israel, we know what that looks like. Got the Mediterranean Sea over here. You got the Sea of Galilee in the middle. You got the Jordan River. Or you got the Sea of Galilee up here, Jordan River. And now you got the Dead Sea, right? The Dead Sea. Then on this other side, there's a land of 10 cities. That's called the Decapolis. So they're up here in the Sea of Galilee. Jesus says, go over there to the land, go to your people and tell them what's going on. They all know about you. They know that you're crazy. Go tell those people. And so he began to tell in the Decapolis just how much Jesus had done. And that's that. Now we don't go there today. But in about 2 chapters, this is chapter 5, at the end of chapter 7, beginning of chapter 8, we're going to meet this man again. That's kind of cool. We're going to go there. We'll talk about him more in the time to come. We're going to meet this guy again. Jesus gathers together from the Decapolis area 4,000 people. And all their wives and all their children. We know that story, the feeding of the 4,000. We know that story. Where did all those people come from? This is the dude who went back and told them what Jesus had done for them, so that when Jesus showed up, they all gathered around. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, you see, Jesus knows best where people should go and what people should do. Jesus knows best. Too often we have a plan. And the reason we have plans is so God can tell us, that's not the right plan. This is what I want you to do. See, anybody can come to Jesus. Anybody can come to Jesus. And Jesus knows what's best for them when they get there. So, what kind of Jesus? This is kind of my favorite part. What kind of Jesus we got going on here? Fearless. The man is absolutely fearless. If that's not the coolest person in the world, I don't know who the coolest person in the world. I mean, crazy, screaming dudes, and he just, whatever. How you do that? Whatever. Jesus is just there. You cannot put fear in the man. And yet, I know Christians who are afraid to share their faith. Something wrong with that picture. I know Christians who are afraid of the convictions that they have. God created the heavens and the earth. Jesus is the Son of God. The Bible is the inspired Word of God. It tells us what he means. They can't say those 3 things because they're afraid. Afraid they can't defend it, I don't know why they would be afraid. Jesus was absolutely fearless. Jesus is approachable. Completely approachable. There ought to be such characteristics in our lives. We are Christians. They will know that we are Christians because we have love for one another. Our friends ought to be able to see us and know that, there's something weird here. There's something different about Eileen and Brian. There's some love going on. Not that kind of. They got some love going on there. They are Christian friends. I mean, there's something different there. And I want to find out what that is. That's the kind of life that we want to live. You want this, when you think this today, think this week. When you act some way in front of a person, ask yourself, am I approachable? Just ask that question over and over. Am I approachable? Am I approachable? Am I approachable? Would people come to me? Would people approach me as they are? Am I approachable? And then when somebody comes, I get mad at people. Jane, you get mad when you drive? Yeah, of course. I've been working on it. I've been working really hard on it. I don't. You see, when we're mad, it makes us unapproachable. I'm talking about me. I'm not talking about Jack. We're judgmental. I want to be approachable. I want people to think that they can bring anything to me any way they are. so that when we sit next to each other, we can talk about Jesus. Unintimidated. You cannot intimidate them. There's me screaming at the top of my lungs. That didn't scare Jesus. Well, let me bring in my 6,800 friends. 6,800 friends. And let us yell in your face. And that didn't intimidate him. You just could not intimidate them. You see, what we know about the Bible is true. We got the truth on our side. We don't have to worry about that. Calm. Help me here. I am not a calm person. In control, always in control. Jesus totally controlled that situation. We've seen him ask questions to get the answers that he wants. Here he's asking the demon, and he gets out of this demon the response that he wants, right? He's commanding, tells the demoniac dude, not here, I want you to go there. The guy went. Turned out all right for him later on. Jesus is a disciple maker. He's a disciple maker. Who are your non-Christian friends? Ask yourself, who are your non-Christian friends? You got non-Christians in your realm of influence, ROI, circle of influence, whatever they call it. Who are your non-Christian friends? What are you doing to try and bring them to Jesus? That's a legitimate thought. That's something we think about actively. Now, there are such people we think that are unapproachable. I know a guy. He was in the Korean War. Yeah, you guys, that's kind of personal. He was in the Korean War, and he parachuted out of an airplane. Was shot down. He was a Marine, one of our Marines. He was shot down while he was parachuting. Bam, 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 bam. His buddies rescued him, hauled him off to Germany, where he spent 16 months or 18 months or some really long period of time in recovery, from being shot. That would hurt, I would think. And so he would spend all his time in recovery. Got out of the Marines, came back to America, bent on finding a wife. I'm going to get me a wife no matter what. And he did. He found a wife. He found a woman. He said, I'm going to make this woman my wife no matter what. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Before that, he comes back from Korea, from Germany, where he was recovered, goes to his wife, finds his wife in bed with another dude, shoots him, kills him dead. Well, kills the guy. We'd be tempted to do that. Kills the guy, gets put in jail for 17 years. I mean, he just war, shot, recovery, 18 months, home, my wife, bam, dead, in jail. Comes out of jail for, I don't know, a couple of weeks or so, bent on finding another woman to be his wife. And he does. He finds this other woman he wants to be his wife. The problem to that is that woman that he found was my mother. And my mother was still married to my father at the time. And so he goes to stealing her. And does. Breaks our family up, tears our family apart, runs off with my mom. Yeah. Another 12 years after that, my mom calls me up I'm in Japan at the time, says, Willie, she called me Willie, you guys cannot do that. Says, Willie, I realized all the things I've done wrong in my life. I want to become a Christian. Next time you come home, I want you to take me to the river, baptize me. I said, you're crazy? I told Mama, what are you, crazy? That's what I said. What are you, crazy? You don't wait for me to come home. You go do the baptism. You go become a Christian. You do it now. And she did. She was a Christian for 12 years. Every day, she prayed for her husband, who tore our family apart, to become a Christian. And he did. And now that man is one of the strongest deacons at the church where he serves. When they have communion every Sunday, he gets it ready. When they clean it up, he gets it ready. That man is a solid pillar of the church where he attends. He's been married to my mom longer than my dad was married to him. My mom and dad were married 5 years or something. He was married to my mom 37 years. And then she died, so otherwise they'd still be married. You see, there is hope for everyone. There is nobody nobody with any kind of baggage that cannot approach Jesus. Jesus can clean up anybody, including us. Let's have a prayer. God, we love you so, so much, and we just think Jesus is the coolest thing. I want to be like him. I want to have the same character that he had. I want to have the same love that he had for us. I want to give that to others. Lord, I just want to be like Jesus. Thank you for the book of Mark. Thank you for the story. Thank you for making it so clean and so clear what he was like so that we can act like him as well. Thank you for loving us. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.